language and stuff like that.
I definitely agree. I was always raised. I was raised by my parents with the idea that it's always important to keep your reputation. You never want to. You never want people to like look down on you, and especially as a leader, you always want to look good. And I think that it's important to have a sense in everything that you post and everything that you like you put out there on social media. It's important to know like what people are thinking behind it, and I think it's just important just looking like a leader in what you do, because social media is social, like everyone can see it. You want to always look good. You don't want people to think of you as like, oh, that person's a bad leader because they're just saying these things or and whatnot, because people have different interpretations of what they see, and you just want to make sure that like what you're putting out there is something good and something that they can interpret it well enough, and they're not going to misinterpret it and be misled by it.
And then lastly, we have Bob.
So this is a three-part question that don't lead to each other. A lot of people feel uncomfortable in joining PCC because of the cliques and friendships that have been fostered. Cliques is very apparent in PCC. How do you plan to introduce newcomers into the space and eliminate cliques? That's part one.
Okay. Wait, are you just gonna go through it like?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think how to eliminate them is just pretty much separating them, putting them into new groups, and not forcing it, but motivating it to for that kind of bond to happen. I know that cliques are kind of something you can't really fight off, and you can't really get beyond your control. But I think it's good to definitely motivate people to get to know other people and to be open for that.
Like you said, you can't really force anything on people. So I think one thing that we should start is, it should start from the class level at first. Like first years of PC, second years of PC, third years of PC, and fourth years of PCC. Just like knowing each other and making sure that everybody's in the spaces. Like, they need to be comfortable with their class as well. And after that is just activities really. During the PCC experience is just that one thing that left was just if you're sitting with somebody you don't know and you're like alone, you're most likely gonna say something to them. If you force like buckets on them and say, "Take that," like together as a group, you're gonna do small talk. And through small talk, we eventually actually talk about actual things. And I feel like with just small activities and icebreakers that actually keep people occupied during like breaks and stuff, and just having more like activities like the park practice and the bonding experiences would just make people better. And just like how we do it during GVMs when there's somebody new. I'm not a fan of like how we make people dance, because I don't really dance. But something like that. Something in a way that, hey, if you have a new person, be aware of that and be open, because KP is a very open and friendly space, and it should be reflected in programs like this.
The next question is, besides, this is TM's question. How do you plan to incorporate culture and lessons throughout the year and not just within the time/process of PCC?
Can you repeat it?
So, besides from PCC, how do you plan to incorporate culture and lessons throughout the year and not just within the time/process of PCC?
I've actually had this conversation with many people in the past, asking about it. But I know that there's supposed to be like a cultural corner, and what started as a joke with I always have a story with Tabo. I have a fascination with it. Well, not really fascination, but something. It's uniquely Filipino that it's so like sometimes it's so weird for other Filipinos and not at the same time for others. And I actually like had this in mind and I called it Tabo Talks because it's something. And I call it Tabo Talks, getting down and dirty with Filipino culture. But I mean, it's as funny and comedic as that sounds. It's something that people don't acknowledge. Like, what is a tabo? Like, people don't know that. And I feel like it's unique to us. And I mean, I'm not going to talk about the tabo every GBM. I mean, it's something, like, I feel like every GBM. Oh yeah, we use the tabo too. But, you can start with that. But it's just again, I started that because I feel like you need something carefree and funny to start something more serious. You lead into something bigger. And your bigger purpose is to spread Filipino culture and what is Filipino culture? What are the taboos of Filipino culture? What's uniquely Filipino? And I feel like we should incorporate that during GBMs and like the Arlon stuff and just know about history and not also just history but also what's happening in the Filipino diaspora and also the Philippines because there are many things that are happening that the space needs to know about and I feel like it's just very important for all Filipinos to voice their opinions and to be aware of what's going on because it does affect our culture eventually and it affects us as Filipinos.
Can you repeat it? Can you repeat the question?
Besides the PCC, how do you plan to incorporate culture and lessons throughout the year and not just within the time/process of the PCC?
I definitely agree with Edward. I think it's always important to create fun ways for GBMers or members to learn about their culture. Why did you go first? I don't know, some fun and engaging games and just making that process I think will help encourage GBMers to learn more about their culture and